everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Amy, and this week we're starting something completely different. We'll be going back to explorations in a little bit, but with so many special occasions coming up, we just have to make some amazing recipes for all the parties, holidays, sports, all of that amazing autumn and winter fun coming up. We're kicking things off by celebrating some American football, because where there's football, there's tailgating, and that means parties and food. Today, we're gonna make 3 dips that will make you the MVP of your next game day party. So let's get cooking. Our first dip today is a classic. It's been around for almost a century and has been a staple at tailgating events for almost as long. Invented in Kentucky in the 1930s, this cheesy dip has a straightforward name and an even more straightforward flavor. Let's make ourselves some beer cheese. We start by adding 2 tablespoons of butter to a medium pan. When that gets nice and bubbly, add in 1 clove of minced garlic and stir this continuously for about 30 seconds until that garlic gets fragrant. Next, add 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and whisk this for about a minute. This is to cook out that raw flour taste because we don't want our dip to taste like raw flour. After a minute, pull the pan off the heat, but don't turn off that burner yet. Now we're going to start whisking in our milk, but you want to add it in very small amounts at a time. And I started this using a whisk, but I found it easier to use a fork for this because the flour and milk paste kept getting stuck in the whisk in a clump until it became more of a saucy consistency. When all the milk is mixed in and the sauce is nice and smooth, add a half cup of either a lager or a Pilsner beer. I'm using Shiner Bock, which is a lager. Add 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, an optional pinch of cayenne if you want some heat in your beer cheese, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix this all together so everything is very well combined, and then we're going to pop this back onto the heat, bring it back up to a simmer, and let it bubble for about a minute or so to start thickening. While that bubbles, make sure to stir it very, very often so it doesn't stick. Last, add 12 ounces of freshly shredded sharp cheddar cheese, a handful at a time. We don't want to use the pre-shredded cheese for this because the anti-caking agent can make the sauce feel gritty, so it's best to shred a block of cheese. Stir while you add the cheese until it's all melted and you have a lovely, smooth sauce. Pull it off the heat, and that's it. We have beer cheese. Look at that beautiful cheese sauce. This dip tastes exactly like its name. This is beer cheese. It tastes like a nice sharp cheddar cheese sauce and beer, and I'm not complaining about that because it tastes amazing. The cheese is sharp and salty, the beer flavor is nice and hoppy and smooth, just like I would expect from a Shiner Bock. I sprinkled a pinch of smoked paprika on top, mainly to make it pretty, but also because even a little smoked paprika just makes everything better. Serve this straight from the stove because it will thicken up a lot as it cools. This dip is great for chips, pretzels, veggies, anything that you can dip in cheese, really. Our next dip is another classic, but it didn't start showing up on menus or in cookbooks until around the 1950s. Since then, though, it's become one of the most popular party dips ever. This one is also my personal favorite. You know we're talking about spinach and artichoke dip. So first we need 1 14-ounce can of artichoke hearts. Drain this and then give the artichoke pieces a rough chop. We don't want the pieces to be huge because we want them to be able to fit on a chip or a cracker, but we don't want them really small either. They could just kind of melt into the dip and not be noticeable. Just sort of bite-sized. After that rough chop, just dump the artichoke hearts into a medium bowl. Next, add a half cup of mayonnaise and a half cup of sour cream. The next thing is our spinach. We need about a half cup to a cup, and we're using frozen spinach that's been thawed out. Make sure to squeeze as much excess water out of the spinach as you can because all that extra water will definitely make our dip way too thin and runny. Then drop that in the bowl as well. Add 1 clove of minced garlic, which is about a teaspoon, and 3/4 of a cup of freshly grated or shredded Parmesan cheese. Last, add 8 ounces or 1 block of softened cream cheese. Stir this all up with a spatula until everything is evenly mixed and it looks like this. Grab a baking dish like the trusty 8x8 Pyrex glass baking dish or a fun and fancy pie dish like this one and spray it with oil to keep all this cheesy goodness from sticking. Dump all of our yummy filling in the baking dish and smooth it all out so it's in a pretty even layer. Sprinkle a 1/4 cup of Parmesan on top. and then bake this in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, or until the dip is nice and bubbly and has started to get a little golden on top. Look at those beautiful golden edges. This smells amazingly good. I really wish you could smell this through your screen. Like the beer cheese, this dip is meant to be served hot, so just grab a hot pad or a trivet and get to chowing down on this rich and creamy dip. I love how you can taste everything in it. It's creamy, it's cheesy, but there's also that savory spinach and then the slightly almost tangy artichoke, and the garlic brings it all together into a luxurious kind of decadence that just makes it impossible to stop eating it. Don't you just love this dip? Okay, our last dip in the lineup is a version of Million Dollar Dip. This dip also originated in the 1950s in a department store in Texas. The name comes from the taste, which is supposed to be worth $1 million. And I think this may be the easiest one of the bunch to make, so let's get started. First thing, we need some bacon bits. Now, you can buy real bacon bits at the grocery store, or we can cook up some bacon and chop it at home. And you know I'm just gonna make it at home. I grabbed a broiler pan because I want the bacon grease to separate from the bacon as it cooks so I can save it and make some amazing breakfast potatoes tomorrow, but you can also use a baking sheet. Line a pan with slices of bacon, and I used 7 slices. It ended up being the perfect amount of bacon. Bake this at 425 Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the bacon is your desired crispiness. While the bacon's in the oven, grab a medium-sized bowl and we'll get this dip all mixed up. Add 1 1/4 cups of sour cream, 8 ounces or 1 block of cream cheese that's been softened to room temperature, and cream these together using a hand mixer or a stick blender like this one with a whisk attachment until they're nice and smooth and creamy. Slice up 4 green onions into nice thin pieces, hold back a little green for the garnish, and add the rest into the bowl. Add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm using sharp cheddar, but you can use regular or even mild cheddar if you're not a fan of the sharpness. Fold everything in together till it's nicely mixed and everything is evenly distributed through the sour cream and the cream cheese mixture. It'll kind of look like whipped cream with shredded carrots in it when you're done. When the bacon's cooked, first we'll take a moment to acknowledge the beauty of this bacon. I mean, look at that crispy, bacony amazingness right there. When we're done admiring it, take it off the pan or the baking sheet, dab away any excess grease, and let it cool to room temperature. It only took about maybe 10 minutes for the bacon to get to room temperature, and I popped the mixing bowl into the fridge to wait until the bacon was done cooling off. Once it was nice and cool, we're gonna chop up the bacon into small pieces, just like bacon bits. Although, if you don't want your bacon to be really teeny, you can just do a rough chop so it'll make a chunkier, heartier kind of a dip. Fold about 3/4 cup of bacon into the bowl, but make sure to leave out a little bit for a garnish. I made a little more than I needed so I would have extra, and it worked out great. Now traditionally, Million Dollar Dip also has toasted sliced almonds as well, and you can add some to this dip if you want to. You would want about a 1/2 cup of the toasted sliced almonds and just fold them in just like the bacon. Then just put this in a nice little bowl and garnish it with some of our green onion, our bacon bits, a little more cheddar cheese, make it even prettier. And that's it. This dip is so easy to make, and if you buy your bacon bits, it's even easier. Flavor-wise, I can see why this is called Million Dollar Dip, because the flavor really is worth $1 million. This is rich, it's luxurious, but it's also really light and fresh at the same time. The sharpness of the cheese, that meaty, salty bacon, the fresh tang of that sour cream. I'm debating if this dip has dethroned my spinach and artichoke as the favorite dip. I'll let you know how that debate plays out in the future because I do love my spin dip, but this is amazing. And there we have it. 3 perfect dips for your next tailgating party. An oven-baked spinach and artichoke, a stovetop beer cheese, and a fresh and cold Million Dollar Dip. These are all so different, but each one is just peak flavor, and they'll be the perfect additions to your next game day gathering. Or your next Tuesday. I mean, why wait for a party to eat any of these when you could just have them anytime? But you'll definitely be the star if you bring 1, 2, or even all 3 of these when you and your friends all sit down to watch the game. Thank you so much for watching this first installment of Special Occasions. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you enjoyed this video. I will have some more tailgating recipes next Wednesday because you can't have a tailgating party without finger foods, and I will have some awesome recipes for you so you can become the official MVP of your next tailgating party. And don't forget to come and hang out with me on Sundays for some cozy home-cooked comfort food. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another special occasion. Bye!